Hello, everyone. This is MMA Interesting Prospects podcast. Today, our guest is Gustavo Lopez, who will fight on RFA 29 March 20th. Hello, Gustavo. How are you?
How's it going now? Down here enjoying this little bit of the outside air and just enjoying some sauna or jacuzzi right now. Sweating, getting my body used to the heat and the water.
And how much of the weight do you need to cut from this day, so Sunday?
Usually like around 5 to 6 pounds. Nothing crazy.
And overall,
Nothing crazy. Yeah, overall nothing crazy. I do it a lot in advance. So I'll drink, I'll be in the tub, I'll sweat it like all of it out and then rehydrate and just keep doing that all the way until the weigh-ins because it's just easier that way. I know a lot of fighters start cutting weight a week out and don't drink any water, and then at the end of the day, your body's like starts panicking, doesn't want to sweat anymore, and then you don't make weight. So we we try to do that ahead of time.
and it will be your like another title fight because you are let's say quite known for winning a title, like fighting for the title, defending the title. So overall, how happy are you that this will be another title fight, and what do you think about your next opponent?
The fact that it's a title fight doesn't really make a difference to me. I've been doing this for so long, and it's nice to have 5 rounds if it does take that long. But I don't see this fight going to 5 rounds. I feel like I'm more dominant in the ground, for sure. My wrestling's better, my grappling's better. He has a fighter's chance. He's throw punches and hopefully something lands. But I feel like it's more of a hope that he catches me other than he'll for sure catch me, So I'm gonna do what I do best, put on the pressure, stay heavy on it, and then do what I need to do to win.
And it's like a big gap in the experience because your opponent has 5 fights and you have 26, and of course you've got like the UFC experience, so it's definitely will be a big factor.
Yeah, I feel like it would be. I feel experience makes a big difference. Just it truly does. Someone told me that apparently when I had my first UFC debut, he had his first pro fight. So, you know, it just I've been doing this for a long time. Like, it doesn't for me. I'm not nervous. I'm not anything worried about anything other than going out there and performing. I've been doing this for a long time, so I'm just enjoying the process. You know, enjoying the cut and just getting excited to be out there and just do what I love.
And actually, of course, it will be like championship fight, but in the end, you are definitely like a kind of finisher because you finished almost all of your wins. So it's like, of course, big chance that this fight will not last 25 minutes.
I doubt it. I really doubt it. You know, I feel like I'm very dominant on the ground, and then when it does hit there, it's gonna be a hard time for him and for anybody. To tell you the truth in the world, I feel like I'm pretty dominant in the ground. So especially with someone with not the right amount of experience, he doesn't. He's not the level that I am in my wrestling. He's not the level I am in my grappling. So he's a good striker. I commentated one of his fights. He did very well. He won that fight, but he fought a wrestler, and I felt like he was losing that fight going into it, you know. And I thought at the end he caught him, but I feel like if that would have gone all 3 rounds and went to decision, he would have lost that fight. So that's against someone that again maybe has the same amount of fights that he does too, with that same kind of experience. I bring a different kind of level. I bring a different mindset into this fight, and I'm just ready to go out there and perform.
And after your UFC run, you fought in Octagon. It was actually your like first promotion after the UFC, and then like RFA. And if you can tell me, because it's kind of rare thing for the fighter from like US, like different part of the world to go to like this part of the world, like Europe. Of course, like Slovakia, and if you can tell me what happened that you choose this kind of like route.
I was getting ready for a short notice fight in the UFC, and it just never came through. They were just waiting, like, oh, hold on, if short notice, they might call you back. Short notice, they might call you back, and then 2 fights went through. They didn't decided to pick me, and then there was supposed, and then I think it was the end of the year, the last fighter card of the year, and it didn't go through. They ended up picking somebody else or something like that, and then I got a call like the next fight it wouldn't be until like mid January, so I was gonna have to wait another 2 months, another month and a half to fight again. And I just got a call. My manager is really well connected with Octagon. He has a couple more fighters in there, so they're like, hey, they're looking for some guy that got hurt, 10-day notice. You want to go and fight for another world title over there in Slovakia? I think it was in Czech Republic. I think it was Ostrava. Oh no, it was in Prague. O2 Arena in Prague on New Year's Eve. So 10-day notice. I fly out there, and I end up finishing my guy in the first round, guillotine. So it worked out. And then from there, you know, I was getting ready for my next fight, and I ended up meeting an amazing woman here in Slovakia, and we just stayed in touch. We became a great relationship and had an amazing baby like 2 years after. So things just worked out, and so I decided to stay. I ended up fighting for a different promotion out of Octagon, and then got offered a fight for a title for RFA. So, and the pay was around the same that the other place was paying me. So I'm like, am I gonna fight these crazy people, for little pay, or beat, up and coming guys with the same amount of pay? So at the end of the day, it's about the money, and it's about making sure I'm able to support my family. There's no reason to take a super risky fight if they're only gonna pay you a little bit of money. So I'm going where the with promotion takes care of me the most, and RFA has been doing that. They take care of me. I live in Bratislava now, so it's my town now. So it's nice to be the champion here.
So it's kind of crazy story, and of course, like with your experience, you can help with the like younger fighters from the country to help them like reach their potential, reach their goals, and
Exactly.
maybe a few fighters from your team will be in the UFC like in a few years.
That's the plan. That's definitely the plan. I started coaching at this gym down here called Titan Gym. I ended up building my own MMA program, teaching just MMA. So a lot what the way I was raised, I went to go learn jujitsu, boxing, kickboxing, wrestling, and then you go into MMA, and then and then you're told not to do certain things. Don't do this because you're gonna get kicked. You don't do this, don't go to your knees, don't do it for wrestling. Like the stuff that you would specifically do for the sport, it's a bad it's a tell for MMA. So I'm teaching my students, the proper things to do, what's gonna be the most effective, with the most, less risk, more reward kind of things. This is like I'm not a big leg lock guy, because one time I went for a leg lock in a fight, ended up getting punched in the face. I'm like, okay, that's not gonna work. And sometimes it does. There's a few people that are able to make certain things like that work. But the majority of the people, if you're doing it and if you're not like a world class guy for doing the specific thing, it's not gonna work for you. Especially these new up and coming kids. Like you're not a world class wrestler, a world class boxer, or world class anything. You're just starting, and to go like and train 20 years and then get into the UFC is kind of ridiculous. You have to start learning everything now. So by the time you are 20, 21, you are able to get into the UFC or a big show. And these some of the kids now, the elite kids, are started training when they're 9, 10, and by the time they're 12, 15, 18, they're gonna be elite. They're gonna know all the things that I know already, and that's the beauty. I have a couple students that are like under 15 that I've been training. They move so well already. I'm excited for them because I know when they grow up, if they decide they want to fight, they're gonna have the skills. And then all the students I have now at the gym that I train at, I'm slowly teaching them because it's different teaching in a class compared to that one-on-one training. With that one-on-one training, I'm able to just help these kids specifically more than just a broad showing everybody, hey, this is the move, let's work on it. And then you get like 5 minutes with me in a class compared to the full hour with me if we do a private. So, no, I'm very blessed to have a good community out here to help. So I'm just gonna keep on doing that. You know, After this fight, I want to focus more on coaching and more helping the community and just help fighters get to the level that they want.
And like I remember you when you fought in the UFC, and actually I thought that you definitely deserve to fight more because you got good fights. You had 4 fights there, and like from the perspective, few years perspective, did you like? Are you a little bit like sad that it didn't happen, or are you okay with this and the like other part of of your career, so fighting for like another belts in Europe?
Of course, the UFC is the main goal, but my life turned out amazing because of it. If it wasn't for me not getting re-signed and going to Octagon, I wouldn't have met my amazing wife and then have an amazing son. So if I had to choose between staying in the UFC and fighting, and then having the family that I have now, I'll 100% choose this route. It worked out. Even though, of course, the goals of a fighter is being in the UFC and becoming a world champion there, but my overall life, I feel it's so much better and so much happier with my amazing son and my amazing woman, and with me. So I wouldn't change anything in the world.
It's
I'm just gonna
probably
keep. Yeah. So
probably like super easy choice.
yeah, no, 100%. I always go back and look at it and be like, oh, if I had to choose, 100%, we'll keep going this path. You know.
And like 6 years ago, you around 6 years ago, you fought against Merab Dvalishvili in UFC. And
Yeah.
like after the fight, did you think that he, of course, not be like one of the best bantamweights ever, but overall the really good fighter who can be like close to the title?
At the time, no. At the time when I fought, I thought he was just an amazing cardio and then just nonstop go. And then he's now developed an amazing skill set. Now he has good striking. Now he has better takedowns, even more than he has. Is the thing that he had from the beginning? He has an amazing cardio tank. He's nonstop going at your face, taking you down. I feel like if he had a better finishing on the ground, it would be better because he had so much great takedowns, but not that much finishes. So he evolved to become a great fighter. He has a great mindset. I'm actually friends with Merab. We trained a couple times afterwards at Extreme and then also at 10 Planet. And it's just, he's an amazing lad. I'm just very happy for his success. You know, it is what it is. It worked out that way for him, so I'm happy for him.
And of course, like you fought for like many titles against like many really good fighters, but also from the perspective, which fight do you think was the like biggest in your career?
For sure, Merab. Of all the champions, of all the people that I've fought, Merab for sure is my biggest name that I fought against. But everybody that I fought in the UFC was incredible, incredible fighter on there. And then outside of the UFC, I had some guy when I fought Combate. Those two guys that fought for the title, those are two amazing fighters. And actually, these recent past champions that I beat and I've lost to, they're great. You know, they're definitely world class guys out here in the world. It just they need to have the right opportunity, and I've been blessed to have the opportunity to be able to fight these kind of guys all the time. So I'm happy with how things are going so far.
And do you have maybe like one fighter from the UFC or even like a few years ago when you were in the UFC that you think that you against this fighter would be like super exciting fun fight and you would like to face him?
Not really, not really. I'm actually majority friends with the majority of the guys in the UFC. So I've never been like, oh, I want to fight this guy because I don't like him or something. Everybody's on their own path, and I just never thought about it like, oh, I want to fight this guy. It'd be great to fight these like some legends out there, Dominic Cruz and these other amazing bantamweights. I remember there was one fight that I ended up fighting for Bellator, and then he was like on the corner right before I walked out, and I'm like, holy shit, that's fucking Dominic Cruz. And I just like, hey, he's like, hey man, he's like, he gave me such an amazing advice at the moment. He's like, hey, go have fun, man. You already did the work, just enjoy yourself. And I'm like, fuck yeah. Went out there, won, and it was just like, you know, the one of the biggest things that I've learned from all these great fighters is that they're very humble and they're just always willing to help. Every one of the amazing legends that I've been friends with. I've been friends with Joseph Benavides. He's an amazing mentor of mine that helped me when I was at Extreme Couture. Cody Garbrandt, another good friend of mine from Extreme Couture, just give me guidance and just give me some intermediate rounds when I was back there. Just I feel like it's what life's about, being able to give your knowledge and help people as much as you can. It doesn't take anything from you, so I want to do the same. I definitely want to help all my fighters and then all the people I get to help out here. I'm planning on doing a bunch of seminars after this fight camp, so it'd be great to be able to travel Europe and just help people as much as I can.
Okay, Gustavo, so many thanks for the time and for conversation. Of course, I hope that you will win your next fight, will win by another finish, and then some maybe big time opportunity will happen. So some like big fight against like UFC veteran or something like this.
It'd be amazing, no doubt.